Hello, hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. So, you know what we like to do? We like to thrive. I like to tell you guys some quick tips and information about anesthesia so you guys can get back to thriving and understand all this crazy, crazy amount of stuff. So, we have been talking all week. We've been talking for most of this year about foundational concepts, building your foundation. And this week, we've been talking about the autonomic nervous system. There's some information over on Facebook for you on my Facebook page. And then we've been talking about some things. We talked about ephedrine yesterday and how what's it called, norepi is synthesized and made. So so I'm going to continue on with that. The autonomic nervous system is huge. I tell all my mentees that it is something to review and look at if you're looking for something to kind of review before CRNA school, and because you will be like inundated with this information when you get to school. So anyways, let's dive on in. Let's do this. We're going to be talking about reflex arcs, and we're going to be talking about 3 particular reflexes. So we can't really talk about the parasympathetic nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, or these reflexes if we don't really understand the vagus nerve, which is cranial nerve 10. So super important. This is going to be a huge part of your anesthesia education, is hearing about the vagus nerve, afferent, efferent. I put on Facebook afferent or sensory motor neurons that carry nerve impulses to the CNS. Efferent is motor, and it goes from the CNS and outwards to muscle and things like that. So understanding how that stuff works is crucial. And then your vagus nerve is the longest cranial nerve in the body, has the widest distribution. You'll hear about it a lot when you're talking about, I think I put in there like thyroid surgery in the recurrent laryngeal nerve. It comes out of the medulla oblongata, and it branches in the neck. It branches out in the thorax. It branches out in the abdomen as well. It also has parasympathetic functions like digestion, heart rate, these reflexes we're going to talk about, smooth muscle. It does a lot of things. So super crucial for you guys to know that. I put a few things that it does there: swallowing, taste, etc. There's actually something out that they have these vagal nerve stimulators, and it's supposed to treat epilepsy and depression. So there's that. And then you can test it with cranial nerve 9 via the gag reflex. So just wanted to throw that up there as something to be thinking about and reviewing, because the vagus nerve is going to be one of your BFFs in school. All right, so I just chose 3 reflexes. There's so many more we could talk about. I have talked about the chemoreceptor reflex before. I think we might have touched on baroreceptor, but don't worry, we'll circle back to all that good stuff eventually. So these are the 3 I wanted to talk about today and some of the anesthesia implications. So the first one is the Bainbridge reflex. So what stimulates this is if you have any type of increased venous return in the body. So all of a sudden we have increased venous return. We have more volume, more fluid coming back to the heart. So what do we want to do? We try to increase the heart rate, right? So the outcome of this is going to be increasing the heart rate so we can try to get some of that fluid out, because we don't want to have any type of venous congestion. We don't want to have any type of pulmonary congestion, right? We want forward flow. We get forward flow by increasing that heart rate to get the flow of the blood out, correct? So ways that you might see this clinically is maybe patients got a little too much fluid. They might get a little bit, this reflex could come about, they might get a little tacky, and any type of position changes. You'll see, whenever you're, maybe flipping the patient backwards or whatever it may be. And all of a sudden we've got increased stuff heading up toward the heart that can also stimulate this reflex, okay? And I believe they studied this in dogs. I think this was like a dog. Whenever I see Bainbridge, I think dog. There was like a dog study or something like that where he figured this out. All right, so that's Bainbridge. The second one is the Bazol-Jarisch reflex. So this is kind of the opposite of the Bainbridge one. So the stimulation is, so now we have decreased return. So now, we don't have enough return and volume coming up to the heart. So what happens is the heart slows down to try to give it time to fill up, right? And subsequently, we also get some hypotension as well, and some coronary artery vasodilation, right? Because we're trying to kind of, how can we get more fluid and volume to the heart? So you might see this reflex if a patient is hemorrhaging. Obviously, we've got low venous return. People that have arrested from spinal anesthesia, it does not happen often, but because of the major dilatation that happens with that, they can completely lose their volume. And instead of Brady, they'll go right to asystole. Any type of myocardial ischemia, and you guys that are doing blocks and learning that stuff, an interscaling block that we do for shoulder surgery, and then we sit the patient up in the chair. All that venous return kind of pools in their pelvis area, and then you'll actually see this visual gyrus pop up. So boards love this kind of stuff. So these reflexes are going to be your BFFs for boards, okay? And then obviously to fix it, increase their preload, give them some volume, epi, ephedrine, you know, all that good stuff. Okay, the last one is the oculocardiac reflex. That's going to be your 5 and dime. The reason we say that is because, and what I forgot to say with the first two is those are afferent and efferently mediated by the vagus nerve. Okay, so afferent, efferent, those Bainbridge and Bizold are mediated by the vagus nerve. Now the oculocardiac, be it 5 and dime, its afferent is actually I believe the ciliary nerve, and then the efferent is going to be the vagus nerve. So this is how I always remember this, the 5 and dime, because like I said, all these little afferent, efferent stuff is going to be very important for boards. So what happens with this is this is common in strabismus surgery, which I think is kind of one of the ickiest surgeries. It's very gross, or like pulling on the eye everywhere. But any type of extraocular eye muscle traction, you'll see strabismus surgery in kids. I meant to put surgery, not surgeon. Any type of ocular trauma and any type of retrobulbar block, what'll happen is you pull on that, it's going to stimulate the ciliary nerve down to the vagus nerve, and you'll get bradycardia. They could get hypotensive. They could actually go asystolic. You could get an AV block, and we got a problem. So, and I think for boards, they love asking this question. So what do? First thing you say is stop. So anytime you're, patient or the surgeon's digging in the eyeballs, tell them to stop. If you see that heart rate dip, turn to 100% FiO2, deepen your anesthesia up a little bit, ensure they're ventilating properly, and then you might have to give a little atropine or glycopyrrolate, an anticholinergic for that. Okay? Alrighty, so that is all I have for you today. If you have any questions, as always, that is what I am here for. So have an awesome weekend. I have to work Friday, but then I'm off the weekend, so I'm excited. So anyways, have a good one, you guys. I'm cheering you on always, and I'll talk to you soon. Doodles.